So I am just setting up the stream info, and then we're gonna take a look at the Whitney biennial. I haven't looked at it in a couple years. Well, obviously it's a biennial, but normally I check out like all the big shows and just look at what's being created because I'm an art teacher, and that is a really good habit to have when you are advising young artists. I like my thumbnail for YouTube. Let's see, am I logged into Trova? Because I think this would be a fun one. Here. Send. Got it. How do I... Creator Studio, I think that's what it's called. Art and craft. Let's do it. Okay, cool. Let's go to Twitch. I don't think my microphone should be picking up. I don't think my microphone should be picking up Kira's Kirby, but if it is, let me know. I think it's fine. Why do you need me to verify? Such a bummer. In a second, I will get the what the heck? That's awkward. Okay, we'll just assume Twitch is working and you can talk to me here because Twitch is being weird. Cool. Well, we're just gonna throw on some music. How loud is too loud? I think that's probably too loud. Let's take it down a little bit more. Okay. So it's the end of the semester at UMass, and I am having a... Hold on, this is the screen. And I'm having a really rough time at the end of the semester, just keeping myself together. I've had a lot of like mental issues the past like 6 months or so, but it's, yeah, I don't know. Let me throw up. So we're looking at the Whitney, which I'm gonna be scrolling through, pick out a few to talk about and think about. I'm gonna try to look at things that interest me. But, if you see anything, maybe tell me to go back and we'll check it out. We'll think about what you want to learn. This is Bastian Adar, who is Bastian Adar. Study for I'm too sad to tell you. It's interesting because it seems like an acting quote. It seems like a type of emotive study for portraiture, but I don't think it's about the photography. I think it's about the action, which is cool because most art that we see in a museum that we see visually is about the representation or presentation. And that's why I clicked on it. That tends to be the type of art that I'm excited about, that I get really into when thinking about how do I want to interact with an audience. And when I think about it, it's always about the performance. It's always about the action. Hence why I am here talking to you on Twitch. Let's take a look at some of the other works. So I'm just on you can go here too if you want to look along with me, but I'm just on I don't know why it keeps typing numbers in there. I'm just on the Whitney Museum, the Whitney Biennial website. It's called whitney.org/artists up here in the left-hand corner. But I just clicked on art and artists, and I went to artists because you can click on each of these and you'll see all 3 works by the artist, or however many there are. It gives you relevant suggestions for articles and things to see. But we can just look at the work. This is a photograph. It's interesting because it's matted and it's got this flat shape, which I think is held by a person in front of this person. So you see the phone going into this, and the abstraction of this makes it feel like this is someone else's hand, even though I think it's her hand or this person's hand touching their elbow. It's also a really nice gesture. But there's a lot of abstraction. So I'm guessing this is a more recent photo. Yeah, it's 2014. And Michelle Abels, there's a lot of photography lately that deals with this flattening of the plane. So putting this mounted photograph, a macro photograph, it looks like it's a photograph of something with water droplets on it. So this is Michelle Abels. Is a way of saying this exists inside this cube plane. This exists inside the frame of the painting or inside the shape of our page, and that kind of always flattens an image. When you become aware of the boundaries, when you become aware of the border, it always flattens the image. It always makes it feel condensed or confined. And let's look at her other work too. So this is a collage piece, another photographic collage. There are a lot of people like this doing this kind of work over the last 10 years, I'd say. And it's really interesting to me because it's very relevant to what I do as a painter. A lot of my creations are about painting shapes, forms, ideas, images that exist in space and they involve abstraction. Whereas photography has most often been about a really efficient, fast means of capturing movement and stillness at the same time. It's a way of creating an image from what exists. But and painting has that too, and that's a long history of colonial art that exists in representation. But abstraction has this kind of way of communicating that is boundless. It feels like it has so much to give in terms of when you see a painting that is super chaotic, it's kind of cool looking maybe, or you might hate it, you might think it's stressful or dumb. Or maybe you see flat images like this and you're like, oh, like that looks like a bunch of random photographs taped together, but you know, you can see that there's like motion and there's, let me bring it up again. There's like motion and there's levels, so the interval of space between certain objects creates feelings of tension, creates feelings of motion that you can identify. It's almost like this big yellow square is a space that, like, it's a pillar or a island in the middle of a room, and this is the back wall of that room. You know, we can kind of move through this image, while at the same time this image is of, I believe it's a rock, or it could be a loaf of bread. Not positive. It looks like receipts and some advertisements. I don't know what bourgeois is. A stencil. Okay. Oh yeah, I know. All right. So I have a feeling some of this is stenciled on. So like maybe like the pink and red. It looks almost like the color of forget what the fluid's called, but it's for silk screening. There is a fluid that you paint onto an image and it's blockout fluid. And this also, wait, this is the last piece by Michelle, and it's also got that stencil vibe. I'm interested in what this material is. It's an inkjet print and it's photographed. This looks like this pattern looks like the background for like transparent images, but it's like slightly tessellated, so like these aren't all lined up evenly. I wonder if put them in lines, like why is this seam over here to this thing? It's almost as if it's stitching together, but also that might just be distortion in the photograph. But that's cool. It's got, she's got a lot of these diagonal visual elements that kind of cut the page, but they're also always cut off at like a really flat point. So like if you take a cylinder and you kind of chop it in half and you're like, say like nothing more out of this side, it kind of makes the cylinder feel flat, which is cool. Let's see what else there is. What? No. I want to look at this. Montgomery Street between Washington Ave and Franklin Ave in Brooklyn, 2016. Is it a found object? Found paper and pins. Okay, cool. So it's just paper that they found on the ground between Washington Ave and Franklin Ave in Brooklyn. I'm wondering if most of their work is found work. Mixed media, cellophane wrappers. Wanna see closer? No. Oh, wait, yeah, here we go. So this is a shadow box with like materials in it, and I think a lot of these things are, so when it says mixed media, I think a lot of it is probably found objects. It has multiple dates. So this was made in 2012, and I think some of them were found on like these specific dates, or maybe it's through, okay, so it's from the, what is the 7th month? Is that May, April? What month is it now? For April 7, July. Yes. 7th month is July. So it's from July 1st to July 31st. This is zip. And so that's, that's a full month of collecting stuff. And they probably put it down. And this is like there's a history of artists doing work that is this kind of like time oriented, kind of like taking the limits, trying to categorize and record time through objects and like an object-oriented ontology, as it's called. So like things that exist because you found them, or exist to demark something that they wouldn't have demarked if you didn't quantify them that way. So if you didn't say this means this, it wouldn't mean it. And that's kind of what finding an object on the ground and being like, this is July 1st, this is July 2nd, this new little piece of paper that I found on the ground, this like wrapper from a candy, or this bullet casing in a park. That got dark quick. Is from July 3rd, and that's what it means. It means that day. So that, I think that's what this is about. It's a sculptural piece, but I think it feels more like a painting. There's an artist, Pei-Ching Se, who did a piece like this, where a few pieces like this, where he clocked in and out every single day going into his studio, and that was the art piece it had for like a year, and he took a picture. He also put a red dot on a painting every day for a year. But yeah, it's interesting. And I'm guessing this is more of the same kind of like found objects stuff. There's an artist, Buku Akiyama, who does, wait, let me bring it up. There's an artist, Buku Akiyama, who does art like this. I mean, this is kind of like, it feels grosser, like anti-aesthetic maybe in a way. But Buku does these things called table arrangements, where you will put stuff on a table and you'll balance all these things. Like, say we balance these two things on my microphone. I can't do that. It will not physically work. But if I could get it, that would be a pretty good table arrangement. Okay. So let's look for something else. If you see anything you like, let me know and I'll look at it. You just have to remember how to describe it. So I'm on page 2. Why does it keep doing that? It keeps typing things for me in the search bar. I feel like that's an art piece. Nice, we made it. We made it onto the second page. This looks interesting. These are definitely like etchings or lithos. Yeah, it's the lithograph. I love lithography. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. So, lithography is a art form where you draw on a sandstone stone, which is usually in the shape of something like this. You know, often I would only draw in a certain section to make it be about the image, so the boundaries of the image. But this person is printing on paper that's larger than the stone, and they're using the edge of the stone. I can tell that this isn't a plate litho, or at least I don't think it is. It might be drawn to look like it would be. But plate litho has like a sharper line quality usually. This has so much depth that I can't see it being anything other than like gum arabic that is being etched in with the relief of a lithography pencil. So yeah, this is interesting. I like the the drawing of this. Zooming out again so we can look at the other ones. Put this down. So that's called Showcase Doll, and it's from 1954. Let's look at the painting here. So this is cool. There's some like early there's some like mid 1900s artwork that's just like wild like this. There was a show in Boston recently that was Hyman Bloom, who makes these really abstract artworks, and I think it's so cool to see these like chaotic imagery that has these super bright colors and like a very contemporary palette. Like I wouldn't be surprised if I saw this work in a contemporary gallery, but it's not the same. So wait, I'm gonna go grab a book. I will be right back. All right. So this is Hyman Bloom, who seems similar to Yves Lorraine Albright. Roaring Fork, Wyoming. I'm gonna look up this person as well because I don't know this person's artwork, and this is actually a really interesting set of drawings. Ivan Albright. That's what it comes up here as. So these are more of them, which this person actually seems very similar to. So these are some of the abstractions of Hyman Bloom. And you know, some of them get pretty grotesque or dark, which is similar to this person. This person does a lot of portraits, which I'm all about. So does Hyman. But you can look it up. It's HYMANBLOOM. Pretty straightforward. And he was a Boston painter. He was pretty local to where I live. And yeah, just some of these drawings are so cool, and they remind me of this person. So, you know, we got like the face. Can you see it? Let me get the glare off. And then we look at these pieces, and they're very similar. I think it's because this was the time that traditional artwork and traditional techniques were being taught to in like local art ateliers across the world, really, but it no longer was beholden to trying to represent. It was post-impressionist, if you if we can use the category's name. But I wouldn't say this is post-impressionist artwork. It's very expressionate, a lot of the work that I'm seeing here too. So yeah, that's cool. I really like this piece. I'm gonna I just wanted to save it because it's pretty. Oh wait, I have to look at the portrait on the. Look at the hands. Whew. It's interesting all the stuff she's holding in this like flat space. It kind of reminds me of Vuillard, who Vuillard does this kind of stuff where it's like it's like flat shapes and things that kind of like blend into the walls. It's a little trippy. Like, see how this top part of her dress doesn't really line up with the checkerboard pattern, but it also kind of blurs into the wall. And it's like using pattern to imply space. I talk about this with my students all the time, but it's just so cool when people do this kind of stuff. And there's a lot of that going on down here. It's more about the clutter. I also, now that I think about this, I thought this was, I can't tell the gender of this subject, which is interesting. Cool. They obviously, I can tell the class, they feel very wealthy. There's also something a little bit Lucian Freud about it. So I'm gonna, yeah. So I'm gonna zoom out and find us a new piece to look at. Oh wait, I want to give you the option of telling me to stop. So just like, if you see anything cool, I will take a look at it. Give me a reason why too. And if this turns into a YouTube video, you can comment it. Because, no, it brought me back to the beginning. We're just gonna use the arrow keys. I think that works better. We're not gonna go through all 124. That would be quite crazy. But I want to see stuff to like, what are people showing? What is the interest of this past year? The Whitney is maybe not the best representation of it's more of a representation of the commodity rather than the conceptual. I would say like the conceptual vein of American art is not shown here. Especially because it's becoming more and more divergent as we go through time. I like this piece, these doodles. Jeremy Anderson, 1920. This looks like an 80s thing, even though it's definitely probably like 60s? 60s? Okay. No, I don't want the motivational speaker. Painty. All right, Smithsonian. Let's see what is Jeremy Anderson about in an academic environment. So did I. Stanford University professor who has periodically homeschooled his children because he did not trust the school system. That sounds like a higher ed teacher. After serving in the Navy, Anderson tried writing a novel but did not like the result. This is the only work by this artist, but I like these better, so we're gonna look at these. I think this is a person, and that's an arm flipping a coin. Little White Lies. Moody. Let the servants do it, serpents. Home without variations. Wave motion. I like how sporadic this is. Nothing does it like nothing. Existential work from a white artist in the 60s. That makes sense. It chalks up. I think this is describing the can-can, like the dance. Boom, boom, boom. Con Man, can, orchard. I guess this is an orchard. It looks like a video game. Like if this is a top-down view of an orchard. And a blood cooler. This looks like a map. I'm pretty sure this is a map. Sheep. Ba ba ba. Tomorrow Night's Dreams. Sheep. Lots of them. I love what words can do for an artwork. Like, words can take a work of art and define it. You know, if we didn't have the words on this piece, what would it be? You know, it would be like, we could probably imagine it as a top-down view of something, or an abstract piece, but the words kind of give us a way of navigating the space. Like, I order my, you know, I went right to left when I was reading, when I was like going around. I might have started with the arrows because those are visual symbolisms that I understand. They're words to me, you know, like they're very quick, efficient words are symbols. And then the can, I was like, oh, that's a repetition. It is a dance. And then the dance made me think of motion, which brought me to the arrows again. And then I read con man and I was like, I don't really know what that is. And then we started to move our way down and I started to see things like orchard or blood cooler. And I was like, okay, so this is a map and these are ways to define what each little bit is. And it's untitled artwork, so it's not giving us a lot. But yeah, we'll look at maybe a couple more, and then maybe we'll draw some stuff. So yeah, let me know if any of this seems interesting. Jose Alvarez is a really interesting artist. I'm pretty sure it's who I'm thinking of. Hey, give me. Let me copy. Artist Wikipedia. I'm pretty sure Jose Alvarez is I thought he was a photographer, but maybe that's not who I'm thinking of. We'll stick to the artwork that's at the Whitney because I don't know how to describe this. I really like that it feels very Super Flat, which is a art group out of Japan. But this seems like a photograph, and the eyes are glowing. What's the title? It's Untitled. It's from 1999. I can't tell if the person is hanging by their hands or if they're holding like a hammer up above their head, about to bring it down, or like something like that. But it's interesting. It's an interesting like image pose. It's very centered, so it's like cut on either side. I think their legs are flat. I'm sure it has relevance that I don't know. That's the problem with interpreting art outside of like the culture of the artist, is that it often, like, when it's, these artworks are being viewed as by millions of people, you know, they're online, they're at the Whitney, they're being evaluated by people who only see them as aesthetic objects, and many of them have like heavy conceptual implications. This is an interesting piece too. Whoa, this person has a lot of work in here. I've never seen John Altoon, but I think I've heard the name, so that's interesting. It looks kind of phallic. So I'm not going to read too far into these, but okay, this says it's about women. I don't know. Okay, we're gonna leave this. I don't want to interpret John's artwork. Goddamn John. Let me see. That's New York. Okay. Find better work to talk about. Or something different. Okay. So like, licking an eyeball tastes really bad. You can try it, and I warned you. But Janine Antoni is a very famous photographer. She's, I believe I am thinking of the right person, and I think she's yeah, she does like performance work, and has like a lot of photography. Oh yeah, she was a part of the Judson dance theater, I think. Bahamian born artist and Tony's work. Yeah, okay. So there should be some dance pieces here somewhere. I think this is a cast of her body in motion. A photograph upside down with the broken pot, which is interesting. Yeah, here's some of her dance work with paper. Oh yeah, I forgot she did that. That's how I found out about her, because someone I knew did a kind of like cover of this dancer's artwork, and had everyone dancing in a room with paper. It's very cool. I love work that deals with like the idea of presence or body, and a lot of her work does that. But yeah, this tastes terrible. Again, if you see anything that you're interested in, let me know. I want to see who Edmund Archer is. These are beautiful portraits. The color is a little flat. I kind of feel it feels very American art. It feels very like traditional American portraiture, with like so many similar colors, and like the focus is more on value than it is on hue or like hue relationships. But I feel excited about the form, like the structure of the image, and that often is what happens when you have paintings that focus on value, that focus on form. The value will bring out the structure of the body of the person, the subject. Okay, just bringing this back. Those are a bunch of revolvers by Arm Man. Arm Man was armed. No matching artist because it typed 3 in again. I think that happens when I hit my... So my hotkey for bringing up the screen is 3, and it just like types it in the thing. And we're all the way back here again. We're just gonna... No. Okay. Robert Anderson. I like how much scribbling is going on in this piece. And there's words in there beyond just their name. That's cool. That's interesting. I love colored pencil. Colored pencil has such a wide vocabulary. Okay, so ASCO is a group of artists from LA. ASCO means vomit in Spanish, I believe. And it's a group of artists who, honestly, I think they would hate having their work in the Whitney Biennial. I'm surprised this is even a thing. But also, you know, they're a group of artists that made a statement about artwork and the cultural representation of Latin Americans in LA, and in the museums specifically. So they did a lot of performance work, they did a lot of photography. This is interesting because of all the road flares. feels very much like a race setting or something. Decoy gang war victim. Oh, okay, so a fake death. And it's believable because of the person who it is. Oh, so they actually, I think they actually did this after protesting at LACMA. Not positive on that, but let me see if I can find this piece of literature. So so you can read this, and then there is also press from this show that has writing about the combative phase. Yeah, right here. I'll put this in the description of the video if I make a video about this, so you can read it and you can download it and you can see what they're talking about and what ASCO is all about. But yeah, ASCO is an interesting group of people making work about things that I think are very relevant, especially at the Whitney. There's another group right now called Strike MoMA that has a lot of literature. They have a YouTube channel that has some great videos on it, but they have a really large population of really famous artists talking about their critique of MoMA and large financial institutions around artwork, because stuff like this, where the Whitney is about these pieces and exposure and creating this collection of images. Sometimes I think some of these some people boycott the Whitney by not creating work, by not allowing their work to be shown, which is interesting. I don't know anything about, I haven't paid attention this year because, again, I've been suffering from a lot of depression the past few months, so I haven't really been focusing on the art world itself. Darren Bader is always in the Whitney. That's the only place I've ever seen work. It was in Whitney documentation. They must own that piece, I think. And also, a lot of these things are my interpretations of what I'm seeing. So if you want to double check, if you want to fact check me, go ahead and do it. I will most likely say things that I know definitively and things that I don't know as hypotheses, like the fact that they might own that piece. But go ahead and double check me. And I would love to know the truth if I don't know it. Smoke. So this piece is interesting. I don't know what Soma demo is. I bet that might be a performance. But this piece feels like a person hanging, like a gymnastics movement. And there's a person over here, a body in the projection on the wall. I wonder if the projector is in this like ceramic piece. It feels like it's ceramic. What sculpture? Soma demo video, color silent. Soma ear resolution, weight, pressure, wax, oil, paint, rigidity, silicon, and stainless steel elastic bands. So these things that are holding up the bar are elastic bands. So there's probably a little bit of movement to the piece, like that heavy wax sculpture hanging across a silver bar is probably putting a lot of weight on the piece, and it's being held taut either way. There's a YouTube video I think I saw recently of someone making a anti-gravity chair. You can probably look that up. It's a common woodworking technique of putting two things against each other so that they so that the weight, you know, it doesn't touch, but the weight is being held by the tension between things like elastics or rope. And when you place weight on the chair, it makes it stand even firmer. So that is probably what's happening here. Although actually the elastic, I just scrolled down and could see the bottom of the elastic. And that is not what's happening. I don't know why the elastic is on the ground. I wonder if someone would perform with this. This is interesting. But let's look at Ivana Basi. I don't know how to bots it. Oh, her work is cool. I like this stuff a lot. It reminds me of Anna Rutenberg. Wax stuff. And there's a lot of like hanging suspension, body molding. Yeah, this is very cool. And there's more of those elastics, and it's got feet this time. Oh wait, I wasn't even looking at that for you. Sorry, just a second. We'll take another look. So this is Ivana, and these are the pieces that I was talking about. So kind of like suspended piece. They're like inhuman human objects. This is probably the piece that's at the Whitney, I think. But there are a lot of them, a lot of different ones. Maybe this is the piece too, because it looks like the same shape. They're waxed sculptures, so I think they probably exist in multiple forms. They're kind of unsettling, but they're also like they feel very human, or like this one has feet. That was what I was talking about with the elastics hanging. So that's a cool one to keep my eye on. Oh, hi. I didn't, yeah, so these are, I'm looking at the Whitney Biennial, and yeah, I forgot to turn on the thing I was talking about. But this is Ivana, who reminds me of an artist, Anna Rutenberg. I don't know how to spell it. Okay. I'll figure it out sometime and show you. But yeah, so I'm just like going through the Whitney at the moment. And then I'm also looking to play games eventually. I love that Nightbot always sends that message. I don't know what's causing it to, but it's my fault. So Hernan Boss is a really cool contemporary painter. A lot of his work is about feelings of like isolation and like the weight of being like a gay man in the community he's a part of, I think. Again, so I add the caveat of I think, because again, you might want to fact check me. But I think this is a really cool piece in general. His painting style tends to be very expressive, and it also like it's very colorist. It's very like this warm hue is a lot different than this like really cool brown hue, and then it gets redder as it moves across, and it's just like really wet media, wet into wet. It feels like it's possibly painted on a vellum of some sort. acrylic, opaque, watercolor, and dry pigment on wood. It's on wood, so that's what I'm getting the feeling of. It's like the pressured surface. Cool. Yeah, so I'm gonna move on. I wish they had more of his work here. And let me know if there's anything you see that you want me to stop and look at, because there's a lot of stuff. Just like remember the name of the person and then I can find them. This is an interesting, super dark painting. So this person is like a realist from like the 60s, I believe. Yeah, 60s, 70s. These paintings are the most interesting to me. These ones, I like this with like all the cut shapes. Oh wait, I don't know if I can show like nudity like that. But it's art, and this is 100. What is this called? Chicago. 10-0, 100. Is it 10-0 or is it 100? Kyle, would you want to play Overprime at some point soon too? Yeah. Okay. Could you set one? I don't have a way. Okay. Well, I'll just stop soon. Okay, so I might not stream Overprime because Kira has an appointment. But maybe later I'll like hop on. But I will play you eventually at some point. Soon. Once I finish, I think, doing this. This is a really cool painting. I like the like face. And like the really cool shadow here with this really warm kind of like reds in the nose. My nose does that a lot because I have psoriasis. So it gets super red. And like, you know, this person might have like a warmth under their cheek from like being outside. Maybe the screen is like an exaggeration, but also it could be that they're standing next to a tree. You know, what are the ways that they're observing this? This is a self-portrait of Jack Beale. And this also looks, it's oil on canvas, but the canvas has probably a like thick layer of gesso under it. Yeah, the pig man. It does very much look like a snort. But wait, is that, do you mean the pig man? Is there a character, or you're talking about this person? But yeah, the oil is probably like getting pushed around a lot because it's probably got a little bit of solvent in it. It still seems kind of thick or kind of pigmented. And it is on a gessoed surface, so it's, you can get those like kind of scrapey lines that like drag and are organic. So I like this piece, and I like these two. These two are very different from all the other ones. They're like very shape oriented and have all this pattern going on, and it's kind of scary. It looks like this mountain is blowing this tree over. The peaks of Otter in Blue Ridge Mountains. Let's look at where Blue Ridge Mountains is. Virginia. Let's go. Maybe it might be Virginia or it might be Georgia, but we're gonna look at, I have a feeling it's Virginia because that just feels like that kid is getting blown away. Let me see. Wait, can I? We're going on Street View. This is the way. It does. It looks like a pig. Okay. Everyone, find this person's car. Why is it not loading? There we go. Wait, it's not even blurred. Quite literally, let's find this. Oh, this is someone's photograph from like their home. Hello, home. You accept all. That's what I'm getting. Okay. So, yeah, I'm going back to the otter painting. But yeah, I like this person's use of line. It's like super organic. Have you drawn at all recently other than the map, Kyle? Like, have you drawn any of the monsters that you're thinking of? Ed Baynard. I like this like graphite kind of like sketching line work. It's so subtle. This is my kind of drawing. It's like really subtle and like really like every mark doesn't mean any, like each mark feels like it means a lot, but it doesn't mean anything in the accumulation, because after you draw this much line, it's hard to tell what any of these little individual lines are doing, you know? But like the collective direction of the line is what matters. Yeah, that I go through periods where I am making a lot of art and then where I'm not. And it makes, I know I'm like at my lowest when I'm not drawing or like making stuff. And that's how it's felt for the last few. I like this yellow light. It doesn't really feel like light, like I'm curious. But it does, like the neutrals here, if these were just a little bit darker, I feel like it would be a really strong light. I like this warmth here. I'm like critiquing a piece at the biennial. I like don't critique very often though, so I feel okay with it. Critique is bad, is what I feel. Ooh, this is a sculpture painting. Yeah, it looks like it's standing on its own. It's like its own mural. And it's got more of that like weird wet into wet line work, and it looks like actual clothing. Not on view. Kevin Beasley, The Road. So I think it's all material. I think it's all objects making this image. So that's cool. So we'll maybe look at like 3 more of these and then I'll stop and then we can play some Overprime because I'm pretty excited for Overprime. Jennifer Bartlett. Whoa, she has a lot in here and it's super diverse. What is this? Is this a painting on tile? Enamel over silk screened grid. So the grid is silk screened and then this is just enamel paint. That's cool. I'm looking up Jennifer Bartlett because, so I'm just saving a lot of this stuff because I want to make sure I remember it for if I make a video out of this. But Jennifer Bartlett makes, oh, she makes a lot of these like grid works, which I always find are really interesting. Look at that. That's cool. Like the way she defines this back triangle is so different from all the other space in this painting. This is a better image of it, I think. And like, this is, I do an assignment with my students that's like this. Oh, the smokehouse? Yeah, let's go look at that as one of the next ones. Okay, so wait, I'm just gonna look at a couple more of these and then I'll go look at the smokehouse because I bet that person also has multiple. Yeah, the shadow moves in this too. Oh, she's cool. I'm definitely keeping a hold of Jennifer Bartlett. Okay. Oh, geez, these are all so cool. They're kissing. It's love. Yeah. Okay, Jared Bark. Who is Jared Bark? Woof. Woof. So Jared Bark does a lot of these photo collages. Oh, wait. Sylvia Palacios. I thought this was a different artist. Oh, this is also at the Whitney. That's funny. So Jared has these photos of naked people on their face. On two different people's faces, maybe? And then the smokehouse. I want to zoom in, but I don't think I can get very close. Is this like graphite? Oh, it's actual smoke. It's actual soot. Soot, acrylic, pastel, and matchsticks. So the house is made of matchsticks. The ground is pastel, and this is soot with acrylic glue underneath it. That's really cool. Very literal. Horseman. There's a man, and there's the horse made out of a man. It's interesting because he didn't continue the legs because he had to use the photograph of these feet. Yeah, it's Jared Bark. I'm gonna hold on to that too because so that piece, this piece is a piece I really like because she makes objects that you dance with and like their giant hands too, which is like a big thing for me and art. But yeah, cool. I like this. Maybe so. I think I'll like wrap it up on this one. I think I've looked at like maybe. Oh wait, Robert Barnes. It's not Robert Burns, but it's Robert Barnes. This is cool. I think that person's decapitated. Oh wait, this is like genocide. What? Oh, it's Judas in Holofernes. Okay, yeah. Why is it? For a second, it looked like Judith was beheaded as well, and I was like, "Whoa, this is a little gruesome." Yes, big hands. I like this composition though a lot. But okay, so Kyle, what do you think of my new setup? I turned the room into a streaming space. So it's got like a background going on. Also, how is the quality? I turned up the quality because I figured I wasn't... Yeah, and I can do this. Wait. Let's get something better going. Yeah, party time, activate. So I started downloading music from friends' band camps from a long time ago. So this is a band from like when we were in school that I met. And yeah. Wait. I think this is the song. No. Okay, this is a better song. Okay, maybe that's too loud. But yeah, this is a band called There's Nothing Wrong With Your TV Set. But yeah, so I'm down to play some Overprime soon. Yeah, these kids are from Boston and Providence. I don't think they make music anymore, but yeah. Okay, well, I'm gonna end the stream while this is